communities who may be in need, who may need some sort of salvation from wherever it is that they're coming from. I've been in wars where I've been ingratiated in communities where dictators decided if they lived or died. And those things, those experiences affected me. And I'm like, you know what, as much as I can say that I dislike George W. Bush, I would rather have a George W. Bush than a Bin Laden, Saddam Hussein. We don't know terror in this modern time like a lot of people from a lot of other places. So if we can extend a hand, and even if it's a hand that don't come often, even if it's a hand that say, hey, we're going to do a DREAM Act now, we might even look at some act that's going to support that for another 50 years. I think we got to throw other individuals, other human individuals who may come from various places in the world a bone, because you're West Indian, you have a Caribbean background, I believe you have an African background. You know what I'm saying? We all have different backgrounds now, regardless of what. Even though we may have gotten here through slavery, and that may be different from some of our Hispanic brothers and sisters, at the end of the day, we are still people of color trying to make it in a nation that says, hey, you can make it if you are here. And I think that we have to some sort of support that.
Yeah, but you got to look at it. I mean, I support legal immigration. One of the things is they always heard was they won't do the jobs that we won't do. Well, no. We will work in a restaurant. We will work in a landscape if you paid an individual a certain amount of money to take care of their family. Back in the day, especially in the 90s, early 2000s, they were paying these individuals slave laborers. It was wrong. Slave labor, paying them $4 an hour, $5 an hour, $6 an hour. Small wages. People would work those jobs. I know Malik and Shaquita and Jamal who work those jobs. They get those jobs and take care of their family. They don't mind sweeping up a floor if it pays enough to take care of their family. $9, $10 an hour. Don't mind cooking in a restaurant if it's going to pay a salary that's going to take care of their family. They make sure they have their pocket and they can have an apartment. And so there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people have this thinking that, individuals won't take those jobs. No. If you look what happened in South Carolina, some of the pig factories, where the corporations, they were paying these people $15, $16 an hour to work in the pig factories, in different factories. What they did was they fired all those workers. And these were in white areas. They brought in illegal immigrants, paid them $6, $7 an hour. So that's a serious problem. And and of course, if they let the Mexicans in, they allow the Guatemalans to come in. How come they haven't let the people from Haiti come in? Where's the Africans?
That probably speaks to the political aspects of immigration.
Yeah, where's my brothers and sisters from Haiti that could not come in?
I think one thing too about there's two things. There's not to get too academic on the issue, but there is some research to this gentleman's credit, that certain populations that have been born and bred in America, or there's a generational divide that there are certain people that have what's called a higher reservation wage. That means I'm not willing to work for $9 an hour when I can do other things to make money. Mm-hmm. So we should be very conscious.
That's a certain age. That's also a certain educational divide.
So there's somewhat of a cultural divide. There's a connection divide compared to someone who, in their country, that $6 they're making gets them a lot more money in peso.
I understand that.
So that's kind of that's just the reality.
But it's illegal. What does illegal mean?
Well, I'm not talking illegal. I'm just talking about the issue of jobs other people are not willing to do. There is some research that shows that certain communities at certain times, at certain price points, won't work for a certain amount. Now, in terms of whether you're paying a living wage, that goes back into our conversation about capital flight. And you can't run a farm paying people $16 an hour. So that's
some other countries.
Right. And some other places you can pay $1 and you're competing with those people in other countries. And then I think one of the things that we should definitely talk about is the actual DREAM Act itself, which has to do with children who, by no fault of their own, are here. And what should happen to those children. And, you know, to some degree, there seems to be some sympathy for, you know, if you're 16, you know, you went to college, some who've served in the military and fought for this country.
Exactly.
Should they have to go? So, you know, I'm just trying to show both sides of that view, that there is some credibility on both sides. And to your credit, there are, even within the Hispanic community, people who have been here for 4 or 5, how many generations, and don't want to be confused with a guy that supposedly is not going to divorce. So it's a complicated issue. But on the political face of it, it seems like there are things happening in this 3rd year or 4th year of his presidency, whether it's he's for gay marriage or the DREAM Act, roughly a few months before the election, that have a political risk to them that seems calculated.
Ed, I want to get Ed in real quick before we close out.
Basically, in terms of the DREAM Act, I'm not really familiar with the DREAM Act per se in totality, but in terms of immigration in general, there's always going to be the element of families, or the breaking up of families, that's going to make this situation kind of tough and make the realities of deportation of millions of people just very, very, very small.
Yeah. And Clinton was the illegal immigrant president. You know, more legal immigrants came in this country under Clinton. You know, Clinton and especially early Bush, but Clinton. But Clinton, you know, when it came down to over in different other countries, if you look what's happening in Trenton itself, North Trenton, during the whole Milosevic situation in Kosovo, you know, he brought thousands and thousands of Croatians over here to America and had them in Fort Dix, and now basically they're pocketed in certain segments of the community. You know, those are considered illegal immigrants that are, you know, over here. Haitians, Jamaicans, but more so when they write the eye picture of immigrants, you look at Mexicans, you look at the border. And it's so serious. It's so serious because right now it's, you know, people are looking at the crime that more illegal immigrants are doing, mainly Mexicans, Guatemalans, driving without license, driving without insurance, knowing that they don't have insurance, knowing they have a license and still driving and hurting people, killing people. If you look what happened in North, those 4 college students in the park. The policy, you know, of Camden was to, you know, the illegal immigrant, that you commit a crime, but they'll let you go. Well, no, they should have never done that. One of the things that they should have did was lock the 2 illegal immigrant up and then sent him to ISIS. They didn't do that. They let him go, and the guy went out and murdered. It was 4 of them went out and murdered 4 African American college students. Shot them in the back of the head and cut their faces off. So these are some of the things that some of the people are very serious about illegal immigrants.
Yeah, we wrote the majority of illegal immigrants don't do that.
Well,
let's not take one story.
But what I'm just saying is that when it comes to African Americans, a lot of African Americans say, "What is illegal? If you get a warrant for your arrest, is that illegal? Do they let you go? No, they lock you up." Illegal means illegal. If I went over to Canada, we all walked over to Canada and decide we want to go over to Canada and hang out, we're illegal because we don't have our passports. What are they going to do to us? They're going to lock us up and send us back. We have a serious problem with that. But when it came down for Haiti, remember those Cuban kids that doing what's the guy, the Cuban kid, Elian Gonzalez, right? He came in this country, they wanted to keep him, but what happened to the Haitians that came over here in the boat? They stopped them and sent them back. I mean, we have a serious problem when it comes to people who look like our color.
There were various Cubans that came over from under Fidel Castro's rule that actually were granted citizenship. So I mean,
but they're Cubans. They're not.
We can say that, you know, it's not finished. How many dark Cubans there are? I mean, like being Cuban doesn't mean that you're light or dark. It just means that you're Cuban.
Yeah.
You know, you can be a dark Italian, don't mean that you're any less Italian.
But what
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there are examples of horrendous things that have happened. I give you that. But there are also examples of beautiful things, outstanding things that have happened as well. So we got to look at that as a whole versus a case-by-case basis.
But I agree we should support, and I support this, jobs for Americans. Americans need jobs.
But back to immigration, would you then therefore say that all illegals should be deported to their country, even the ones who, like I said, they were here from I mean, they were babies or what have you that came here. And then the question is, how realistic is that? You know, and, I mean, literally, are you going to give them all bus tickets? And hold on a second. And in the election, and in the Republican primary, they seem to struggle with this, and I think that's something that I think Obama's. I think Obama's is President Obama has maybe taken a tactful move politically. I mean, because some things are kind of you're not able to do, and maybe some people might not be fond of deporting people.
You know, to me, it's when I look at it, it's according how did you go over here. It's according to you committing crimes. It's according to where certain. It's difficult, but the ones who are illegal, and especially especially if you're committing crimes.
Well, in the Dream Act, if you're committing a crime, you would
go back.
Yeah. So, and you're in agreement.
Yeah, I agree. You definitely go back, but it's to the point where taking jobs from Americans.
Well, like we said, there is a little bit of a gray area as opposed to whether that's actually happening or not.
It is happening. It is happening all over the country.
So,
people are taking New Jersey, and I believe that the top two states with most of illegal immigrants in this country is one is California, and the other one is what? New Jersey.
I don't know.
Yeah, because we have farmers.
Texas is in there as
I
well.
don't know about that.
And one of the things is that it's a bad situation, and we have a stronger president, that will make us deal with some of these strong issues and not play with them. Yeah, we definitely should start sending the immigrants back to their own country.
I don't think that there is anything that you can do that will be a bottom line deciding factor of what will happen to immigrants, whether they're legal or illegal, whether they're taking jobs or not taking jobs. But I do feel like there should be some sort of compassion to those particular communities. Even if that compassion only comes ever so often, I believe that there should be some compassion, because at the end of the day, I mean, we could say, hey, what about the Haitian community? What about there are many Haitian brothers and sisters that are thriving within this particular nation. Mm-hmm. I mean, many things. There's many other groups that are thriving within this nation.
Illegal is illegal. What about the compassion of illegal immigrants? What about the compassion of some brothers and sisters that are in jail in America? How about the compassion of the young kids? The young kids that are in jail. In New Jersey, we got about 5,000. Let's say specifically New Jersey, we got about 45 to 5,000 kids locked up. 85% African American. The same thing with adults in prison. We got 36, 37,000 adults in prison. 85% of our African American. Where's the compassion for those suffering poor people in jail that aren't getting rehabilitated and come out and can't get jobs to take care of their family?
No, I think you're mixing beer and wine.
But illegal.
Hold on a second.
Illegal is illegal.
Nobody's saying that there shouldn't be compassion for those people. We're just talking about illegal immigration and some of the aspects of it. Yeah. And to both of your credit, it's a tricky subject for both parties. That's why they tried to actually not have it as a big ballot issue in the last election. Nobody was talking about immigration.
Well, it's also a tricky subject because of all the industries that it affects.
Yeah.
I mean, it affects jobs, it affects healthcare, it affects schools, it affects a lot of